Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. It's Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. How's everybody doing out there today on this rainy, cold Thursday afternoon? It's not such a nice day. I've been doing good. I have been sleeping mostly this week when I haven't been working. I'm still fighting that illness that I got over the week of New Year's. Not nearly as deathly ill as I was that week, but still just kind of low energy. And I noticed something very interesting about these designer viruses that seem to be going around. And that is that coffee and animal products seem to not sit very well with my stomach. The same thing happened 2 years ago when I got the other thing. So but I'm feeling good. I wanted to bring you this presentation. Today, we are going to talk about uh, the wolf moon coming up on Monday. It is a full moon. It is Monday, January 13th. The moon will be right at the cusp of Gemini and Cancer, right there at 24 degrees and 0 degrees. Like literally, as soon as the full moon happens, the moon will be in Cancer. But we have Mars conjunct the full moon. And then across the sky, we have Sun and Pluto in a very loose conjunction. So we have this opposition between Moon and Mars, and then Sun and Pluto. And there's some other interesting aspects that are happening as well. And the Farmer's Almanac calls this a wolf moon. So we are going to look at the energy of the wolf, the spiritual significance of the wolf. There are a couple of planets that are associated with wolf energy too. And then what I thought I would do is do a nice little numerology, alchemology decode for you about the wolf moon. I found a lot of really interesting connections, and I'm super excited to share that with you guys. So let's see who's here today. Let's see. We have Ultimus 5x5. Thank you, fellow traveler. Hello, my dear. Diana from Mexico. Oh, it's sunny in Mexico, I bet. Lucky. Ragnarok Riders got the cold, but not the rain. John Doe is here. Hello, John. And Rosella from Germany. Yes, yes. Yes, I hope I'm feeling better soon too. It's weird. It's not like I can't function. It's just when I do, then I'm a little bit tired. So I woke up, I don't know, around 8:30 today, had a little bit of breakfast, worked on some things, and then by 10:30 I was dogged. So I went back to sleep until about 1 o'clock. And so now I'm up and I'm going to do this presentation for you, and then we'll see what happens after that. Let's see, Ragnarok Rider says it. We call it the second Yule moon, and it concludes the Yuletide season. Yes, thank you. Thank you for concluding the Yuletide season. It's time for spring. I want spring very soon. So let's see, what announcements do I have? Stellar Foundations. So the early bird pricing ended on Monday. We have 17 in the class, plus my mom, plus me, and 3 other people that are going to be helping you guys along through the course. And many of you have already started the modules, and I'm getting some questions. So this is really, really great. I'm excited to have all of you there. I just ordered the last batch of software. So for all of you in the course, need the software, everyone's software has been ordered. So please make sure you look in your regular emails and in your junk folders for an email from Mastering the Zodiac. Athen will be setting you guys up with your licenses and instructions on how to download the software. Feel free to jump in there and start playing with it. On the 20th, not this coming Monday, but next Monday, we will meet and we'll make sure that everybody is set up and knows how to run charts on their software. So yeah, that's that. Let's see if you guys need any readings, my links are below. Let's see what else. I think that's everything I need to tell you guys. Oh, last night I had an amazing reading. I sat down with Logan with Decode Your Reality, and he did a decode on me, and it was incredible. A lot of it was very affirming for what I knew, but it's nice to hear that, when you actually read for other people, sometimes you have a blind spot to your own chart and to your own coding. So it was really magnificent to sit there and to have this, and it was 3 hours, and he took my whole chart and he made these beautiful pictures. So like, for example, I've got Venus in Gemini, so he created a graphic of Venus hanging out with the Gemini twins just to give it a little bit more of a depth when we were looking at it. So, yeah, that was great. I really, really enjoyed that. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just jump into it. I don't want to keep you guys too long today. This won't be a marathon live session. I just wanted to bring you the full moon and this decode. So let me go ahead and get started. We'll share the screen. First, we'll look at the sky because we are talking about a full moon here. So we want to make sure we know exactly where the moon is. I always like to go to stellarium-web.org. And this is Monday, January 13th on the screen here. You can see that. And here you can see the moon and Mars right there between Gemini and Cancer. So this is a pretty tight conjunction here. This is what we should be able to see in the sky. Actually, the moon will probably completely block out Mars. So y'all will not be able to see Mars, but know that Mars is right there. Then we have Jupiter still in Taurus, Uranus still in Taurus. And on the other side of the sky, let me back out of this, is the let's do get the sun to come up. There we go. On the other side of the sky, we've got Sun and Mercury right here. There's also another comet, you guys. Apparently, we can see this if you're in a very clear sky. You can see this right before sunset or right after sunset or right before sunrise. Everything is now out of the galactic center, out of the void. Everything's moving towards the Sagittarius Capricorn energy around the chart. Venus, of course, is in Aquarius. And so that's basically your sky on Monday. So let's dive into this presentation. I'm really excited to share this with y'all. I worked on it for a little while. All right, here it is. The Wolf Moon, January 13th, 2025. We're going to look at Pluto. We're going to look at Mars. We're going to look at numerology. We're going to look at some alchemy. And we're going to try to understand this full moon. I had some fun with this. This is wolf energy is so absolutely beautiful. If you haven't studied wolf energy, I highly recommend you do. It's a very sacred creature when it comes to indigenous culture, especially here in North America. So when we look at the spiritual significance of the wolf, there's going to be, basic spiritual concepts. But if you think about it, the wolf speaks to intuition and instinct. This is an animal of the woods, and its cycles are around the moons. So they're highly intuitive. They rely on their keen instincts to survive. And spiritually, the wolf encourages trust in one's inner voice and the ability to navigate through life's challenges with confidence and an awareness. So when we're connected to this energy of the wolf, we are also connected to the energy of nature, of the wild and natural world. Wolves are seen as guardians of the wilderness, representing the untamed and the primal aspects of nature. They remind us to honor our connection to the earth and our raw, authentic selves. And then, of course, you can't think of a wolf without thinking of the moon, werewolves, full moons, and mysticism. So you hear the wolf howling at the moon. We actually have coyotes behind our house where we live, and you can hear the pups in the springtime. They sound just like people laughing, actually, when the pups are howling for their mother. But when they're grown, you can hear the long, drawn-out howl, and it's very iconic. So it ties us to this lunar energy. It ties us to the intuition, the cycles, the mysticism of the moon and the night. And it reminds us to align with our own natural rhythms and honor our own emotional and spiritual depths. So wolves are pack animals. And so that energy of the pack, we can also pull that energy down into our own lives and use what they know and what they instinctively do for our own evolution. So as pack animals, wolves are natural leaders and team players. They embody the balance between standing alone and collaborating with others. So it's about protection and loyalty. Spiritually, they symbolize the importance of finding your own role within the group while also maintaining your own individuality. The loyalty and the protection that comes from a pack. So one wolf might be alone, but the moment that they howl and ask for help from the pack, then we get the fierce protection of not only their pack but also their territory. So this highlights the importance of defending loved ones, building trust, and fostering deep bonds within your collective. And the wolf also symbolizes freedom. So being able to run through the woods without any constraints. But also the pack energy is the responsibility. So you have to take care of the young, you have to take care of the elderly, you have to take care of the weaker. So we thrive in the packs, but we also value our own independence. And spiritually, they represent the duality of freedom and responsibility, being true to oneself while also caring for one's community. So, how do we as humans kind of bring in the energy of the wolf? Well, we can use it. We can use it as a spiritual teacher and guide on our life journey. You can use it as a guide or a totem, offering wisdom on your life path. But mostly, wolves teach us adaptability and resilience and how to harmonize with the cycles of life. It also represents the dark and the shadow, the transformative energy. In many traditions, the wolf serves as a guide through the darkness, helping individuals confront their fears and embrace their shadows and undergo personal transformation. So, when you think of the full moon and the werewolf energy, where the human is transformed into the energy of the wolf at the time of the full moon, this is that transformation energy. It's a death and a rebirth. And then finally, just communication and expression. It's that pack animal energy. So they have complex communication skills, howling, body language. And spiritually, this reflects the need to express oneself clearly and authentically while being receptive to others. So these are the things that we can learn from the wolf, use the wolf to guide us, not just on this full moon, but all the time, always manifesting the energy of the wolf. I had a nice experience back in November of this past year. I went on a retreat and we did a ceremony at White Sands, a healing ceremony. And I played my singing bowl and walked in a circle. And the spirit of the wolf came to me while I was doing this. I felt like I was protecting the healing ceremony that was going on because of the circular pattern that we were creating as we were walking around, and then the music that was coming from the singing bowl. So, yeah, this is definitely real energy that you can tap into. So let's put the wolf into the energy of astrology. Mars is one of the archetypes that is also associated with the wolf. LuPIne Martius was the name of one of the archetypes of Mars in ancient times. So the wolf represents Mars, Mars represents the wolf, and this is the warrior and the hunter. So the key words for this energy would be instinct, survival, courage, aggression, and primal drive. So we've got Mars conjunct our moon right now, and or during on Monday during this full moon. So we want to think about, you want to draw these energies into this full moon. So when you're looking up at the sky, you want to think of Mars as the wolf. Wolves are hunters, embodying the sharp instincts and action-driven behavior, much like the Mars archetype. The wolf's role as the protector of its pack resonates with Mars's association with loyalty, courage, and defense. So then the astrological connection is that Mars rules over our primal instincts, our survival mechanisms, and the drive for leadership, which aligns well with the wolf's independent yet social nature. So very root chakra energy, right? Pluto is also associated with the wolf, and this is that transformative energy. So, if you're on a transformative quest, if you're here to make a transformation, um, or there's something that you want to transform into your life, you can bring in the energy of the wolf for this very purpose. So, the key words associated with Pluto and the wolf would be a mystery, power, death, rebirth, and the underworld. And why Pluto? Well, wolves often symbolize the spiritual guide. Now, this is not the wolf as the animal, but the wolf as the spiritual guide, connecting us to the unseen world. And all of this is strongly tied to Pluto. So, shadow work, transformation, facing fears, all of this is sort of wolf Pluto energy. And Pluto is going to be conjunct our sun, which will be reflecting, which the moon will be reflecting the sun's energy. So, the astrological connection here is that Pluto governs intense transformations and the balance between destruction and creation, much like the wolf's role as both predator and sacred symbol. And then finally, the wolf can be associated with Neptune energy. That's right. So the spiritual shaman using the energy of the wolf to become a spiritual shaman. So the mystical and the intuitive, dreams, unity. Wolves are linked to intuition, emotional depth, and they're howling to the moon, invoking this mystical connection. This reflects Neptune's themes of spiritual longing and connection to the collective. Neptune governs deep and emotional sensitivities and the archetype of the guide or the teacher also, which can be attributed to the wolf in myth and folklore. And personally, I think this is just such a beautiful graphic when you look at this female shaman. It's just all Neptunian and wolf energy. Really, really beautiful. So that's basically the energies of the wolf, the astrological energies. Let's actually look at a chart. Let's look at these aspects with moon, Pluto, sun, um, Mars. We also have Neptune, Uranus, and Chiron in the mix too. So the first axis we want to look at, we've just been talking about these three energies. We've talked about Mars and Pluto and the Moon and what they might mean. And so now we're looking at them in a chart in opposition to one another. And I think Mars probably takes the prize for being wolf energy, and the moon as well. So we have Moon and Mars together in the sky, right there at the very edge of Cancer and Gemini in the critical degrees. This is how our mind works and our hearts. So it's mind and heart together, with the emotions of the moon and the action oriented energy of Mars. But Mars being in Cancer in the moon's house, it doesn't really feel like a striving kind of an action. It feels more like taking compassionate action on the self, taking action on that which you hold dear in your heart. It could also speak to the mind and heart connection. So we've got this energy of the wolf, this mind heart connection here on one side of the sky, and then on the other side of the sky we've got Pluto and the sun. And Pluto is a purging energy. Pluto is a transformational energy. And as the sun comes through this space, this happens once every year, we go through a collective purge. Full moons are also perfect for purging in and of themselves. It's a time to manifest and release. So you've done all the work of setting intentions at the new moon. The moon is swelling, and as we approach that full moon, it's time to manifest or to realize. And then as the moon passes, we let go and we purge. So this energy for me, this energy of, we have air and water, and then we have earth and fire, are the four elements basically working together to cleanse and to purge us and to get us ready for the next set of energies, which will be, if you saw my last live, we got a lot of big energies coming towards us. So I think what you said earlier about the Yuletide moon, Ragnarok, it makes sense because this is the end. We're leaving behind all the energies of the last year. This is your kind of your last chance to sort of get it out there and then to be done with it. And so I think the themes around this, at least for us personally, are going to be purging. What might it mean on a collective level? Again, I think it is a collective purging. I think this is the culling. A lot of us have been through a lot of things. Many of us will go through more things, but this is a moment in time where we can go ahead and kind of stop, take stock, get rid of what doesn't serve us. And not only that, but in a very logical and non-emotional way. Even though the moon's involved, the moon is in Gemini, which isn't all that emotional. And then you got Mars and Pluto there, and these two are working together as the spiritual surgeons. So yeah, this is your moon. But there's other aspects that are hitting our moon and sun that I wanted to bring up as well because I think they're very interesting. The first one is Neptune. We've already talked about Neptune as, again, the intuition, the unity, the mystical energy of the wolf is making two very nice aspects to the sun and the moon and Pluto and Mars while being conjunct our North Node. So the collective North Node in Pisces, been here for a while, right? This is our lessons of universal love and oneness, moving towards that collective shared goal of peace and unity and oneness, breaking through the duality and understanding that we are indeed all one. And Neptune is basically the cosmic shaman of the zodiac. Neptune is sitting up there in Pisces. This is Neptune's house, where Neptune is very comfortable. Neptune's going to be here for a very, very long time. So there's no getting away from the mystical arts, the mystical energy that is pervading through our collective right now. And it's going to play a big part in this moon as well. So you've got Mars and moon both in a trine configuration to Neptune. So there's an ease, there's a flow here. Anytime you see a trine, this is when the two bodies in the heaven are looking at each other lovingly in the sky. So if you could see Neptune and you can see the moon and Mars, then you would see that they would be at angles in the sky that would actually make you smile if you looked up. Venus and uh, Jupiter have been doing that, albeit in a square position. But at night, if you look up, you can see Venus and Jupiter, and you see them both benefic staring down at you. It's a very similar energy, the trine. So it's like, oh, this is nice. This is a good exchange and a flow of information. Mars is a spiritual warrior here when in contact with Neptune. So it's not about the the cutting, the murder, the energy of fighting. It's about flowing with and accepting. Sometimes the best action is nothing. It's to sit and receive. And that's what Mars is being taught here in the stars of Cancer, which is the moon's house, and then being so nicely aspected to Neptune. So none of this is fighting energy. While at the same time, we've got Neptune creating a sextile back to Pluto. This is a very, very long transit. This has been going on for decades and it will continue to do so. And it speaks to our collective need to surrender to our transformations. That's what it's all about. The only thing that you can guarantee is that things will always change. And Neptune and in aspect like this to Pluto shows us that, and it gives us an ability to accept that, and the moon gives us a catalyst in order to do that, in order to finally surrender to that transformation. So then we go on to the next aspect, which is Uranus, making a similar sort of angle. If you look back here, it's a trine and a sextile, and now Uranus is doing a sextile and a trine. So again, this is going to be a very long transit between Uranus and Pluto, where they are in a trine configuration. They are working very nicely together. It's allowing for the unique and individual expression that is you to come through. It can be somewhat electric. It can be somewhat unexpected. It can be somewhat erratic. But I think if we use the blessings of this wolf energy and allow our individual uniqueness to come through and to shine through with both luminaries, this can make for a very interesting time. So what I'm pointing to with Uranus and Pluto and Neptune is this configuration that we will see for a very long time, where Uranus and Pluto are in a trine, Neptune and Pluto are in a sextile, and Neptune and Uranus are also in a sextile. They're a little bit out of orb right now, but essentially that's what we're going to have for the next 2 years. So it's almost as if our outer planets are literally like looking down on us and blessing us and creating this beautiful spiritual safety net for us to evolve and to transform. So that's awesome. So there we have Neptune, and then we have Uranus, and then we have Chiron making a square to this energy. So Chiron is our collective subconscious wounds, but it's also our collective subconscious healing, right? Chiron can be associated with luck and optimism as well as your deep subconscious wounds. And I think the wounds, where it is now in Pisces, speaks to the deep subconscious wounds of being disconnected from source. There's a lot in our a lot of people in our collective who are disconnected from no one's ever really disconnected from source, but they're unconscious of the role that source plays in their life and how important it is. And when you don't have that connection, it's hard for us to walk through the world and see the duality around us, to see the terrible things that happen to people, innocent people. Like you look at California, for example, right now. Like, why is that happening? Why are there fires in California? What did they do to deserve that? Like, how is that even fair? How can there be spirit or God when these things are allowed to happen? But but really, the reality of Chiron is, Chiron is meant to feel pain, but not suffering. So, teaching us that pain is inevitable, but suffering is not. And the way that we experience pain without suffering is to integrate, is to understand that it is part of this creation. It's part of the path here. And so, being at tension with sun and moon, some wounds for us may come up. It may also be an opportunity to constructively work with our wounds, to truly let go, to truly purge, to be okay with our imperfection, right? Because we aren't perfect, but we are perfectly imperfect. So that's Chiron. I'm making the aspect. We talked about Uranus. Okay, the next set of aspects that I wanted to touch on was this Venus and Saturn combination. So when these two get together, it's like you have the structure of Saturn. You've got him as the teacher, you got him as the guide. Um, you have Saturn teaching us that all of our decisions, conscious or unconscious, crystallize the reality around us. Saturn wants us to understand this. Saturn wants us to take responsibility for our actions, to take responsibility for our decisions, and to truly create a beautiful world around us. But Saturn was typically thought of as the end of the line, sort of the circle around the sphere of 3D existence. It's the last planet that you can visibly see, unless you're really, really squinting. Sometimes in a really clear sky, you can see Uranus, but with the aid of a telescope, it's much, much easier. But Saturn is way more obvious than Uranus. Saturn takes 30 years to traverse the zodiac. So Saturn won't be in Aquarius again until another 30 years. And Saturn actually used to rule Aquarius. So while Uranus rules it now. So you have Saturn in Aquarius's house, trying to follow all the rules, trying to make everything perfect. There is a tension with Saturn in Aquarius as to our individuality versus the collective needs. What sort of individual freedoms are you willing to give up for safety and protection? Saturn, I also see Saturn sometimes as wolf energy. Then you get Venus in there, who is just literally the light and the spark of your own divine ability to create. It is the energy that you feel in your body when you're about to create something beautiful. And to put these two together in Aquarius, it means that we're destined to create something beautiful here this cycle. That's what I really feel like. As Venus moves through Aquarius, it is about connecting on a sensual level with the collective, understanding that what hurts you hurts me, what excites me excites you. We're all one, right? So this energy of creation and taking responsibility for it is what these two are speaking to. And they are in a trine aspect, a nice trine aspect to the calculated point Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith represents that raw, untamed, wild, and suppressed creative energy that we all have deep inside of us that's been um, suppressed for thousands of years. And these two together making an aspect to Lilith as she's in the sign of Virgo, the birthing mother sky goddess, where all of creation starts from. So you have this powerful creative energy that's almost an instinctual energy driving you to create for the collective, to create something for your soul tribe. So you can tap into that energy during this lunar cycle because it's going to last longer than the actual full moon. So that's very nice. That's going on right now. And then, of course, you've got Jupiter in a square to Venus and Saturn. And the square to Jupiter and Saturn has been, is a several month long transit. So it's not like anything is, you know, feeling tense right away. But this can be used constructively by allowing the expansion of Jupiter, but also utilizing the responsibility elements, the taking care of type energy with Saturn. And the two together can be really, really nice for manifestation. So you've got a lot of creative energy, you've got the intuitive energy and the spiritual energy of the wolf, all of this coming together and culminating on this full moon. How are you guys doing? Let's see. Let's see how many we have. Let's see. Let's see. All right, we have 31. Very nice. Let's see who's chatting with me. All right. Oh, Laura, your daughter's birthday is Monday. That's awesome. Happy birthday to your daughter. Can't rain all the time, says Ultimus. That's right. Thanks for the rainbow, Lori. Awesome. Diana asked me if I've taken activated charcoal. No, I have not. I have been doing tea and eggs. That's been sustaining me. Have Bliss says, hi, souls. Mistel Chambliss. Hey there, Danny. I have Venus in Gemini as well. Diana says she has a decode set up with Logan as well, not until February 10th. Oh my gosh, Diana, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Hi, Brenda. Thanks for coming. Lori's ready to do the retreat. Yeah, me too. Know what's coming on the other side of the same coin. Lady Spellbreaker says, I think this Mars-Pluto opposition is at a T-square with my natal sun, and I'm glad Mars is in Cancer, cooling off and sitting down. Yeah, that's tough. So it would be a mystic square for you, Lady Spellbreaker. Let me actually show you something cool. So a mystic square is actually just an aerial view of your pyramid. Okay, so if you look at it, you've got, your opposition between moon and sun, and then you've got the other opposition creating that mystic square for you. And so it's 2 oppositions and 4 squares. And this is pressure. This is extreme pressure that will create one of the most perfect platonic solids. And what does pyramid mean? It means fire in the middle, right? So whenever you see that mystic square aspect in your chart, just think of looking down on the top of a pyramid to help you get through it. Lady Spellbreaker says, prayers for California and everywhere. It's heartbreaking. Fires are terrifying. I have lost everything 10 times over, purged, traumatic, and unexpectedly. I learned we all ways to rebuild. We come out stronger and wiser, for sure. Yeah, if you can look at it like that. But in the moment, it's not always like that. But yes, a lot of times, and these are Pluto transits, right? Whatever California is going through is a Pluto transit. I mean, fires, that's it. That's Pluto, calcination, purification by calcination. So whenever you go through a Pluto transit, it's not pleasant, but most of the times, if you think of it as happening for you instead of to you, when you're through with the transit and you look back and you do the retrospect, the hindsight, the 2020, then you 100% see that, wow, that was supposed to happen. If it hadn't happened this way, then I wouldn't be where I am now. So yeah, that's the rub with Pluto transits. All right. Rach says, good morning, Danny. Hello, Rach. It's your daughter's 20th birthday today. Happy solar return to your birthday. Sandra Doel says, happy healing, abundant blessings, protection from the BC Kootenays. Star Heart Star. Thank you, Sandra. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Well, you guys are doing good. I want to show you this decode of the moon. This numerology is really, really cool. Um, I'll sort of talk you guys through my process as well, so you can follow along with me. But yeah, this was great. And what's super interesting about numerology when you start. Okay, so what I did is I basically started with the day. So I started with Monday, January 13th of 2025, and I just started making associations. Not really connections yet, but just saying, okay, the numerology of this date is this, the card is this, here's the alchemy. And then I would go on to the next topic and I would do the same thing. And nothing seems to connect for a little while, probably for maybe the first like 3 or 4 iterations that you do. But then once you get to a certain point, it all just the path just lights up. It's almost as if the runway lights come on, and all of a sudden you can see the path straight ahead of you, and all of these connections start forming, and the dominoes start falling. So it enables us to take a connection from way over here and a connection from way over here and tie them together through these various um, modalities. So, numerology, mathematics, the cards of illumination, tarot, alchemistry, and astrology. So, we're going to go through it. I'm going to show you what I did. I think you guys will like this. I'm going to get out the numerology reads from cosmicsugar.org. You guys can go there and go to resources or numerology, and you'll get the readings for these. So, here it is. We're going to look at Mars and Pluto, and we're going to look at the wolf moon. So the wolf moon is January 13th of 2025. All I did was add these numbers up. That's it. 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5. That equals 14. That, of course, reduces to 5. So if you take this is a compound number. If you have two numbers together, like 14, or you take all of the numbers in it, and then you can read about it. So this is number 1. Number 1 is I am the spark of existence, the first light that brings all into being. In numerology, the number 1 is associated with leadership, independence, and a pioneering spirit. It represents the beginning, symbolizing fresh starts, new ideas, and the drive to initiate projects or actions. People influenced by the number 1 are often seen as assertive, innovative, and confident, with a strong desire to carve their own path. They embody self-reliance, ambition, and a natural ability to inspire others. In terms of assets, the number 1 fosters a mindset of resilience, courage, and determination, empowering individuals to overcome obstacles and to set high personal standards. This energy promotes a direct, action-oriented approach, encouraging a proactive and sometimes fearless stance in achieving goals. The number 1 is intrinsically linked to the planet Mars, the sign of the zodiac Aries, and the color red through the theme of initiation, individuality, and powerful action. So we have leadership, pioneering spirit, all of these core traits of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, and Mars. Mars is known as the warrior planet, embodying courage, aggression, and the drive to assert oneself, perfectly mirroring the bold and assertive energy of Aries. The color red further strengthens this association, symbolizing passion, vitality, and the fire of life. Red is the color of Mars and Aries, capturing the spirit of action and energy and enthusiasm that defines the essence of one. Together, these elements emphasize a dynamic force that initiates, leads, and breaks new ground, marking the start of a journey with intensity and unbridled enthusiasm. So the assets of number 1 is basically the innovation, the ability to succeed, and independence. But the liabilities can be the struggling with rigidity, resistance, and preferring to go it alone. So it can cause challenges in relationships. So isn't that just synchronous? That we're talking about Mars, we're talking about this moon, we're talking about the wolf, and the number 1 just happens to synchronistically speak to all of that. And so then we look at the number 4 because that's part of 14. And 4 is stability, nurturing, and growth. It says, I am the foundation of stability, grounding dreams into form and structure. So the 4 is tied to the moon, Cancer, the color green. It's associated with stability, nurturing, and growth, all qualities that reflect lunar and Cancerian energy. In astrology, Cancer is the 4th sign of the zodiac, ruled by the moon, which governs emotions, intuitions, and cycles, echoing the number 4's themes of groundedness and natural order. Together, the moon, Cancer, and the number 4 reflect an archetype of emotional stability and growth, grounded in the cycles of life and symbolized by the vibrancy of nature that sustains and nurtures all living things. So, with the number 4 energy, this is builder energy. So, while Pluto destroys, the moon in Cancer builds. Some of the liabilities of the number 4 could be being overly focused on rules, being feeling limited or confined, and then also being too serious, where you sacrifice joy and spontaneity for duty. So also a fear of the unknown, and maintaining the status quo. So that is a very interesting combination right there, just for the date of this wolf moon, which is Monday. Now, you can reduce these numbers further and get the singular number for this energy, and it's a 5. And 5 is, I am the spirit of adventure, the spark of change, and the freedom to explore. So the number 5 is deeply connected to the sun. You need the sun to have a full moon, right? And it is associated with the sun, Leo, creativity, vitality, and dynamic energy. There's warmth, self-expression, and leadership. So this is spirit into matter. The color is yellow. It's associated with confidence, joy, intellectual clarity, mirroring the golden warmth of the sun as it reflects off of the moon. So some of the liabilities of the number 5 can be being distracted, needing constantly new, fresh energy, not being able to sort of sit and be stable. There can also be impulsive tendencies and risky behavior. So 5 needs to find the balance, cultivate the discipline, and ground their adventurous spirit in order to fully express themselves. So I just thought that was really, really amazing that these 3 energies are just in the date, but we have more. So we're going to keep going. So you can also use alchemology and the cards of illumination. So if you take 14 and you go to the periodic table, you're going to find the element of silicon, which is sand, which is dirt, basically, which is what we're all made of. Silicon Valley, technology, all of that. Its numbers are 14 and 28. So I just want you to keep those in mind. And you can go to the Royal Society of Chemistry to look these up. They also come with really beautiful graphics that you can kind of get into a sense of what they might mean. And then 5 is boron. So boron also has an atomic mass of 10. So we're going to keep these numbers just in the back of our mind as we go further. But the ace of spades is the 14th card. So if you look at if you go to Cosmic Sugar under resources, you can download this and you can find out what your birthday card is. So for January 13th, we got the ace of spades. For my birthday, August 4th, I'm the 9 of diamonds. So you can also find your own birthday in this chart and use it to find out what your card is. And then you just look up what the meaning of that is. But basically for the ace of spades, it is the 13th card in the deck, and it speaks to ambition and being the example. All right, so we have this data right here. Let's go ahead and dive in a little bit more into the cards and these chemical energies. If you take this spread, the life spread and the spirit spread, this is also in that pack of resources on Cosmic Sugar. you take the card in question, you find its space on this spread over here, and that is, where is it? I lost it. There it is, right here in the Mercury-Neptune line. Okay, so there's Neptune visiting us again. In the Mercury-Neptune line, you just go over to the spirit spread and you get the 7 of hearts. Now, the 7 of hearts is the number 7. So it's letting go. It's sacrifice. That's what 7 is about. And so that really plays into this full moon energy. It's time to let go. It's time to sacrifice. Use the wolf energy to work for your collective, to work for your pack, your soul tribe. 7 is associated with nitrogen, which has the atomic mass of 14, which ties back to the number of the day, and silicone, and 28. Okay, so another thing you can do is look at this and get the number in order of. You can get a number associated with your card by looking at the order. This is also on Cosmic Sugar. So the 7 of hearts is the 7th card, whereas for example, the 7 of spades would be the 46th card. Okay. All right. So letting go and sacrifice. And already we see some really nice connections just going right back to the date. So now we can bring tarot into it. Each of these playing cards is also associated with a tarot card. Spades are swords. So if we have an ace of spades, we are looking at the ace of swords card. Now, the ace of swords card, if you look in the tarot, this is kind of blurry, but if you download the image from Cosmic Sugar, you will see that the ace of swords is the 50th card in the deck, which reduces to 5, which is boron. If you take the first 3 numbers of the atomic mass and add them together, you get 10. Okay, so it's basically an order of magnitude of boron when we look at the ace of swords here. And it is the reduced number of the date. Then we can take the 7 of hearts and relate it back to the 7 of cups. Hearts and cups are synonymous in the cards of illumination and the tarot. Now, the 7 of cups is the 42nd card in the deck, okay, which gives us molybdenum. And if you look at the atomic mass of molybdenum, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'll make it bigger. But if you look at it, its atomic mass is 95.95, which is 14.14. Okay, so again, it's like 2 5s, order of magnitude, and now we have 2 14s. If you add 4 and 2 together, you get 6, and that's also part of our decode a little bit later. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. These are just stunning connections to me, that they're all, pointing back to the same date, all with the archetypes that we've been studying and thinking about. So I just think it's super interesting. You can also take the name of something and get the numerology of it. Now, Chaldean numerology only goes up to the number 8, and it's not like A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. It's more like certain letters have either 1 through 8, depending on how they sound phonetically. And if you go to Decoda, dekoda.co, and look at that, the whole cipher is at the bottom whenever you put a word in using Chaldean. So Monday is the moon's day, okay? If you take moon day, you get 29. Moon is 23, and day is 6. If you take wolf moon, you get 47, which is wolf, which is 24, the inverse of 42, or the mirror of 42, and then you get moon, which is 23. Now, interesting enough, both of these are prime numbers, 29, and both of them reduce to the number 11. So 29 reduces to 11, and 47 reduces to 11. So where can we go with that? Well, we can go back to our alchemology and more numerology. So sodium has got 11 protons, and its atomic mass is about 23. So it's 22.9, and 23 is moon, right? 23 is moon. So the reduction of both of wolf moon and moon days numbers to 11 gives us sodium, which takes us back to the moon. And 29 and 47 are both prime numbers. 29 is the 10th prime number. 47 is the 15th prime number. So let me show you something really cool with that. You can go to Number Empire and type in any number, and it will give you all kinds of interesting aspects about the number. So now we have Moon 23, which gives us vanadium, which atomic mass is 50, which takes us back to that 50th card, the Ace of Swords, which is the Ace of Spades, which is that day. Amazing. Amazing, right? And then, of course, 6 is carbon, which goes back to 12, which moblendium, number, this one right here. Let me pull this out. Right here, that 42, you can do that backwards, and or you can make that 6. So 42 is 6. Okay, so we're back to 6. And then I don't know if you guys know about the medicine cards, but I found this was it right here. This is where I was like, okay, I'm definitely on to something. The 15th card in the medicine deck is the wolf. I mean, wow. How about that? And then the 47th element is silver. And silver is very much associated with the wolf and werewolves and that type of energy. And then also, synchronistically, the moon is at 24 degrees in Gemini at the peak of the full moon. And the 24 is wolf. So, wow. All right. There's more. There's a lot more, actually. I have about 10 more slides. So let's see how much further we can go with this. So silver, if you spell that out in numerology, is 20. And the word hunt is also 20. If you go to howl, you get 21. Bite is 12, which is the reverse of that. If you add all those 4 numbers together, you got 6, which is carbon, which is the moon day. Oh, and then just for fun, teeth. If you spell teeth out, it's 23, which goes back to moon and sodium. And 11, the numerology. So all that just from moon day, wolf moon. Now, the second part of this is I took the word LuPIne. LuPIne is the Latin word for wolf. There's like porcine is pig, bovine is cow, feline is cat, canine is dog. Well, for wolves, it's LuPIne. And you can actually spell LuPIne using the periodic table. So I thought I'd do that and see what we could come up with. Now, if you spell LuPIne in Chaldean numerology, you get the number 28. 28 reduces to 10. We've seen 28 here on the silicone, right? Because 14, which is the day of the wolf moon, has an atomic mass of 28. And if you reduce it to 10, you get the atomic mass of boron. So, wow. That's thing 1. Then we've got lutetium. And if you go to the Royal Chemistry Society and the periodic table of elements and you click on lutetium, you're going to get a lot of information. And it will tell you where the name came from, what the graphic on the website, like why it was created, what it meant. But it basically is the Roman word for Paris. So Lutetia is Paris. And I thought to myself, American Werewolf in Paris. That just came to me. So I typed it in there and it happened to be 23 letters, which I thought was super interesting. The moon is 23. Teeth is 23. Werewolf is 42, which goes back to mobilendium. Paris is 15, which is the wolf card. But the date that this movie premiered in France, 3/6/1998, is also a 10. And the card is the 4 of spades. Now, the 4 of spades translates into the 4 of swords, which is the 53rd tarot card, which is iodine. Iodine's proteins. So all these connections are spelling out the word LuPIne for us. So then if we take the 4 of spades and we take it through the life path configuration and the spirit configuration, we get the 10 of clubs, which is a 10, which is also the 23rd card in the deck. Are you guys seeing this? This is amazing to me. Like I was like, wow, okay. So we have a movie about werewolves and wolves that is also associated with the LuPIne. So now we have the LU, the I, and the N in neon, because that's the 10 right there, which is also the boron, which is 10. And the 10 of clubs, which is the 23rd card, which is moon and teeth. Amazing, right? And then, of course, phosphorus, which is atomic number 15. We're back to the wolf card again. So, yeah, I mean, isn't this amazing? This is just so incredibly amazing to me that all these connections are here for us to discover and figure out. It just really shows me how magical and how interconnected everything is, because you can do this for everything. You just have to have a little, you have to know what all your techniques are, but there's a little bit more. So the 85, you can take 85 and put it into the periodic table, and you get astatine, which comes from the Greek word astatos, meaning unstable. So I went ahead and I typed in unstable into the Chaldean numerology cipher, and I got 29, right? 29 is moon day. 29 is the 10th prime number. 29 reduces to 11. So again, we're back to the neon, we're back to the 10, we're back to the 10, back to the 11 and the 23, the moon and the teeth. So wow, how about that? Are you guys getting this? Are you guys following me so far? All right, let's see what else. Okay, so the final thing that you can do with alchemology is to add up the numbers of the protons and the atomic masses. So I went ahead and did that. I took 71, 15, 53, and 10, and I added them all together, and I got 149. 149 reduces to 14. What's 14? Y'all remember 14, right? 14 was the numerology of our full moon day. The very first thing we figured out at the very beginning, right here, the ace of spades. So there's that. Then we can take the atomic masses and we can add them together. And we get 175 plus 31 plus 127 plus 20, and we get 353, which equals 11, which goes back to the sodium, whose atomic mass is 23, which is moon, which is teeth, which is the number of letters in American Werewolf in Paris. But 353 is also a prime number. And look at that. It's the 71st prime number, which is lutetium. So, wow. All right. There's more. There's more. I want to talk about the planets involved in this astrological alignment of the full moon. So here we have Mars. If you spell out Mars, Mars's numerology is 10. 10 is the Ne in LuPIne. 10 is the atomic mass of boron. What's the element associated with Mars? Iron. How do you spell iron? Just like that. What does it mean in numerology? 15. The 15th card in the deck of the medicine deck is wolf. So there's your Mars. Now let's look at Pluto. Pluto equals 28, which LuPIne equals 28, which reduces to 10, which gives us the neon, which is the 10 and the boron. But what does Pluto do? Pluto's a purging energy. And purging is also 28, which takes us to silicon, which takes us to 14, which is the date of Monday, January 13th. So all these connections associated with our wolf moon. And then we have the sun. The sun is 14, which is the day of this full moon. And I think it's super interesting that the numbers associated with SUN are 365. There's 365 days in the year. And also the sun will be in Sagittarius, which is 11 letters. And if you take the numerology of Sagittarius, you get 29, which is Moon Day. Okay? All right. Just a few more slides. I want to show you the other planets involved in this decode and in this full moon. We have Chiron here. And I don't know, maybe you guys noticed when we were doing the astrology section of it, but if you can zoom in here, you can see Chiron is at 29 degrees. How about that? Chiron, who is square to both Pluto and Mars and the sun and the moon, is at 29 degrees. What happens if we put Chiron into the numerology calculator? We get 23. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This is moon. This is teeth. Okay, it's 23. Let's look at Neptune. Neptune's at 7 degrees. We haven't seen 7 in a while, but 7 is associated with nitrogen, whose protons is 7 and atomic mass is 14. So when we put nitrogen in there, we're connected once again back to the day of the full moon. So 7 degrees there for Neptune. Then if we go to Uranus and we spell Uranus, Uranus is 23. So both Chiron and Uranus are 23, which is moon, which is teeth, which is associated with this day. All right. I think that's everything. Yeah. So that's it. That's the decode. Moon, Sun, Pluto, Neptune, and Mars. So hopefully you all enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you, and also going through it. Like I absolutely loved going through all of these energies and seeing where the connections were lining up. And hopefully it wasn't too confusing to you guys. I mean, I didn't go as deep and as crazy as Logan goes. I wanted to keep it so that you guys could also see the connections that I was seeing. So cool. What do you guys think about that? Let's see what you guys are talking about. All right. Lori and Lady Spellbreaker chatted it up. Lots of 24s. Rosella asked for the address where to get the information. Actually, you know what? I will share it. Actually, let me do that. Let me show you where to go. So if you go to cosmic sugar.org and you go under numerology, you will see the descriptions of the numbers. Okay. If you go to resources, you can download all the images that I downloaded. You can download the cards of illumination. You can get the tarot card all laid out. You can also get the spirit spread and the life spread, as well as some other things. There are 2 spreads for the tarot in there. Don't use the one that has 2 fulls in it. Just use the one with 1 full. And then if you go to Dakota from this website, you can get into the numerology ciphers. And you can put in your stuff like moon, Uranus, right? So that's what I use. Nothing too fancy. It wasn't what's cool about this is you don't need like crazy software or anything like that. You can um just go there and read the resources. Let's see. Let's see. Let's look up. All right. Rosella said, fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Restless said, that's a lot of info. Love your enthusiasm. Yes. For what I lack in knowledge, I bring to the table an enthusiasm for sure. Always adding up the numbers. Okay, good. Well, I'm so happy that you guys enjoyed that as well as I enjoyed bringing it to you. I think next week we're going, it's time for for like a Q&A. So probably maybe Tuesday night, we'll get together in the evening on my time, and you guys bring your questions, bring your charts, bring anything you want to talk about, and we will just kind of chat, just get through some. I'll of course bring something to present to you, but mostly I want it to be Q&A and just touch base with you guys and see what you're thinking about, where you want to go, what kind of information you want to see, and we'll go from there. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please like the video if you love the content. If please share this with anybody if you know if anyone needs this, that would be great too. And I look forward to the next time with all of you. Namaste, guys.